A few days ago, I made a video about this female who was claiming that she was in the Klan. When you're in the Klan, you don't announce that you're in the Klan. It's kind of like Fight Club. That bitch was full of shit. What I'm going to do right now, I can't type it out because some of these terms are flagged, but I'm going to give you some of their coded language. So when you talk to these idiots, you can tell exactly what's wrong with them. When I was young, I married into a Klan family, so I'm familiar, but you may not be. It was tough being around a bunch of dumbasses. First term, 14 words. We must secure the existence of our people and a future for white children. The number's 88. It stands for Heil Hitler. If it's stupid that they're paying homage to someone who died decades ago, it's because it is stupid. They are unable to be original. 1488, that's a combination of the two. 14 words and 88. You can see this in tattoos and online usernames. When you hear a white person say globalist, they're talking about the Jews. It's a conspiracy theory that whites are being systematically replaced, and that fucking terrifies them. So when they're talking about interracial marriage, immigration, multiculturalism, they see their demise. It's tied to the Great Replacement theory. That brings us to the Great Replacement theory. It's that idea that whites are being replaced, specifically by non-white immigrants. This used to be just used by white supremacists. Now it's being used by politicians. Do with that information what you will. This one needs to be used in context. Western civilization or Western values. Sounds pretty neutral. It's typically used as a euphemism for white culture, and it's used to frame diversity as a threat, like a direct attack. The funny thing about this is that often they can't even tell you what white culture is. White people in France have a different culture than white people from the South. Anyway, woke, that means anything they don't understand, which is a lot. It's weaponized against civil rights. Boogaloo, it's often called the Big Igloo or the Big Luau, and that's slang for a racial civil war. Based. This is used to describe someone who is brave about being racist. White-pilled. The idea that whites would win an ideological war. If these motherfuckers were our ideologues, we ain't winning shit, as you can probably tell. Red-pilled. This is people who wake up to the truth. You can just use that one back on them. Oh, you're woke. You finally woke up. But this is often used by misogynists in the incel community. I did another video on the incel fuckers. Or more specifically, the non-fuckers. Sometimes these people will say, again in contact, I just started noticing. Like, just shut the fuck up. You don't even need the first 3 words. It's okay to be white. Nobody said it wasn't, by the way. This is the way they try to farm victimhood. Anti-white racism. This is used in response to things like DEI and CRT. In other words, shit that they don't understand. Ethno-state. It refers to a country or region where there's predominantly white people. One race. Anti-globalist. Anti-Jewish. Race realism. It's a term for white supremacists who understand nothing about science to justify racism. So eugenics. Identitarianism. It's just white nationalism. You will not replace us is a phrase. Started at a Charlottesville rally, and it's based on the Great Replacement theory, or conspiracy. They're scared that they're being replaced by minorities. Deus Vult. That's Latin for God wills it. And it originated in the Crusades. But of course, white supremacists had to hijack it. Oh, and neo-crusaders. Yeah, those exist. It's a way to frame their movement as a holy war against liberalism and Islam. I told you they're not very smart. Protect our children. Oh no, it's fucking drag queen. That's all you need to know about that one. Heritage and not hate, we know about that one. Reclaim America. That implies that the country belongs to Christians, to white Christians, and is being stolen by progressives. Progressives, black people, immigrants. A land that was never ours to begin with. White pride, that was in response to BLM. Ovenworthy. I'm not going to go into that one. Use your imagination. It's probably what you think. Some emojis. The juice box. It means juice. The cup of milk emoji. White purity. Pepe the frog. White purity. I will try to do another video with the terms, but I have to figure out which one of these terms I can't put on the videos. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments. See you next video.
What this group's ideology is.
So the accelerationist white supremacy view goes like this. Number one, they hate the government. An accelerationist is, their views are this. They don't believe there's a political solution that can save the white race. They believe that society is going to collapse on its own or from man-made events, and they want to accelerate. They want to speed up the collapse of society. When I was in the base, my cell, CELL, was looking at property. My cell and the Maryland cell were looking at property in the Appalachian Mountains. There was a Northwest, Midwest, Detroit, out of Detroit area in Michigan. They were looking at property in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The Pacific Northwest, they already had property. The leader of the base had property in the Pacific Northwest. What they believe is, let's do guerrilla warfare tactics. Let's do small attacks like we take out a power plant or power grid. We take out a water system by poisoning it. You kill lefties. You kill anti-fascists. You kill non-whites. Burn their businesses, stuff like that, slash their tires, anything to create chaos, to start the downfall of society. So a lot of times when I'm teaching, I say, like, remember that year when everything was being burnt? In most accelerationist groups that I was aware of, if you scratch the surface enough, whether they say they're pagan or the Christian identity, most of the ones I interview were pagan, but that's not to say that they're pagans for real. Just like white supremacists take the Bible to come up with the stories for Christian identity, which is not Christian, it's not Christ following, it's called Christian identity. It was totally white supremacist. They were doing that with paganism. And those are heavily satanic white supremacy groups. And when you look at Order of Nine Angles and others of that nature, they are big, at least they're proponents of, and if you get into their chat rooms, you're gonna see some horrific stuff, because they're big on sexual abuse, rape, and pedophilia. Siege culture, which is that accelerationist view, probably when the boogaloo happens, they're saying they're just gonna rape kids and women all they want. People in the base said that. They were like, hey, because I told them, I'm like, hey, I ask, hey, I see we're always talking about this. We're going to get our own ethno-state. We're neo-Nazis. Yeah, bam, 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 bam. I haven't heard you guys talking about me getting our own compound or getting our own ethno-state. I haven't heard any of you guys talk about procreation for the white race. You know what I mean? And I've got a woman, but she's not being shared. So, and that's when the two of them were like, oh, we're just going to rape the women. And I went.
In Indiana in 1925, no man was more powerful than KKK Grand Dragon D.C. Stevenson, who controlled the governor, the state house, Indianapolis, and the state literally from one end to the other, and was made a multi-millionaire by selling the Klan to Indiana ministers and their congregation. Madge was a state employee interested in teaching rural Hoosiers to read, and that's what brought her upon demand to Stevenson's house in this Irvington neighborhood one night. Madge was plied with liquor and maybe drugs and loaded on a train at Union Station headed for Chicago with Stevenson and his cronies.
Stevenson molested her, raped her, bit her.
It was those bite injuries that led to a staph infection that eventually took Madge's life, but not before she told her story to a lawyer and a friend who wrote it all down. He was found guilty of second-degree murder and later served 30 years in prison.
He had made it very clear that he wanted to get to the White House, and he said yes, but if I had gotten there, it probably wouldn't be called a president anymore.